Hey, what is up, guys? So we've just wrapped up the haircut, and so yeah, welcome to the channel. First video, first time on the mic, so claps up for that. I don't have any hands. I'm recording, so there will be a clip with some audio in there of clapping. But loving the start. So what we're gonna do now, we just wrapped up the haircut. My wife and I are gonna head over to Crunch to get a back and body workout in. Today is my day. We switch off on who is leading and copying each other's workout and make it a little bit of a loving competition. So yeah, so we're gonna go knock that out, come back, do a little bit of meal prepping, and then have a greater conversation about life after graduation, kind of what my experience has been, and maybe some things for you guys to look out for and take into account. So we're going to go knock this out, and we'll see you guys when we get back. All right, what is up, guys? We actually just got back from the gym here. So we had a nice back and body session, got that taken away, a nice protein smoothie here that we just wrapped up. But yeah, it's that time. So I wanted to come back here, talk to you guys, and get into what life has been like after graduation. Let me take off this hat real quick. It's kind of crazy, show y'all the fresh cut, I gotta bless the people real quick. But yeah, so like essentially like right after graduation, things got really hectic, really fast, but in like best way possible. As the thumbnail says, I got married, I had a dog, and started a new job all in one weekend. One. One weekend. And that was pretty insane. But I think overall, what I wanted to make this video for was really to kind of talk about my journey from graduating, how much different life is, and kind of how do you kind of stay on track and what's been helpful for me. So it won't necessarily be an advice, more so my experience. But yeah, let's get right into it. So yeah, I would say like really like I think the hardest part about your life after graduation is like you are responsible for developing your structure. You can't rely on your school or your teachers or anyone else to kind of get you in order. Your deadlines are either met or you could potentially like impact your career, your connections, people that you work with. And so I think in that way, like there's a lot more pressure to kind of get things done. And so I think that's been interesting. Like, I think that's kind of a mental block that you have to overcome of like building, I say, a routine. And I think that's why you see all of these people on like social media that like people are bothered by, but like being able to establish like those routines and like, I think it's cool that people like record it. I think them doing that in a way is like public accountability, right? And so like I think that's awesome and I think it's something that's important. And I think like just that adjustment alone is like really hard for people. You go into a work world, there's not as much of like necessarily you have people your exact age going through your exact experience. Like me, for instance, I came in just having gotten married. So like I had an opportunity to kind of connect with say older coworkers on like this experience of being married and like that helped build some relationships. But like when you're a kid coming straight out of school, like you have people who have been doing this job for years. You might feel like a newbie. You might not feel like you have all of the skills yet because you've just graduated. You're brand new in the working field. And so all of that is hard. It's like trying to find a community and that transition from having such like a tight knit, like you probably had a friend group that you ate lunch with at the dining hall. We had D hall, is what we called it. But like yeah, you would group me, your friends, and like, hey, let's go get lunch and like that transition to the work world where it's like you have to email somebody to like essentially like try to get permission to like, hey, can I put time on your calendar so like we can get food or something. So it's just like the personality kind of changes in the way that you communicate with others and like figuring that out is just like a whole different animal. So but I think really being able to have people that maybe aren't even at your same company, friends that you graduated with, being able to stay in touch with those people and like creating a network for yourself is very important. You have to do that. And even at your jobs, try to find people, try to find organizations or other things that like kind of align with your values and things that you're interested in because it's very important. It's really easy to kind of feel isolated when you're coming in brand new into your career. Getting married at an early, or at what people would call an early age, is definitely different. I think sometimes the way people engage with you because you are married, it's like, I don't know. This sounds like it sounds like self-absorbed to even be talking about this, but like I am filming on the camera, so I don't think it can get any better than that. But yeah, like the experience is different. Like people assume like you have like or like you have a lot of like different responsibilities. Like we're trying to like build a home, like we have animals and things that are like pet parents if you want to go that far. So like there are a lot of different elements that comes with that of just like aligning your scheduling calendar with someone else. Like you can't just like go rogue anymore. So that's definitely like a transition and like may not be for everybody and that's completely cool. Like it's certainly like not easy, but I don't think like if you're going to get married, like you should be looking for easy. Like you should be looking for building something that's like beautiful. Like you're building something that is truly like it takes a lot of work, but it creates something really beautiful and really awesome. And being able to have that support system when you're going through these huge life changes like that, where you're both going through it, I think is so valuable. And I think it's made my transition a lot easier as well. Having my wife being able to support, she's gone back to med school, and so like there's been transitions with that. And like graduating, when I first graduated, I had moved up to Delaware from my job. Born and raised in Virginia, had not lived in any other state for any prolonged amount of time. And so being able to pick up my things, flying all the way to Delaware where I had no family or friends. Then I had no family or friends or anything like that either. She has family and things in Maryland, but not exactly in the closest proximity. So that was like also a challenge for us. So again on that point, just like try to find a community of people that you can really build with and make you feel included. I think that's really important in longevity, whether it's at the company or whatever field that you're gonna go into. Yeah, getting a pet, man. If you're thinking about it, I would just say like definitely consider the reason you're getting a pet, right? Like mine was is that like unfortunately like I had a dog run away when I was like younger when I was at school, and so like I was just always like, yeah, as soon as I like graduate, like I'm gonna get a dog. Like I just missed the fact of having a dog. But little known to you all, my mom was probably doing all the heavy lifting with the dog, to be honest. Like she was probably taking care of them, like feeding them, keeping them with us, honestly, keeping them alive. um and so like yeah, growing up being in my own house where like that responsibility now falls on me, it's like very different, especially if you get them as a puppy. Like just all of those different adjustments. And so essentially like once you graduate, it's very important to make sure that you're building a community, that you're establishing a routine for yourself, and ultimately like pick out what you want in your life. I think that's another thing, right? Because like in school, you're like you already have your plan lined out for you. You're going to go to pre-K, elementary, middle school, high school, college, and then maybe you even go and do a master's program, or like you go into a residency or something of that sort. A lot of that kind of plan is lined out for you. You have that like blueprint. But if you're someone like me, like graduating and you're going into the workforce, you have to do a lot more reflection for yourself of, hey, how do I get to X, Y, and Z? And I think what's really important about that is, again, like study the people that you want to be like. So if you have like a managing director at your company or even a boss on your team and you want to be in a position similar to them, talk to them if you can, if you have those connections. And if you don't, try to find them on LinkedIn, try to find out their information and things of that sort, just to really get to where you want to be. There's and like honestly, just like what you don't want to do after graduation is like you just kind of become a deer in headlights, right? Like you're just like there's so and it's what I did. It's what and I did in a sort of like moving into a new state, right? Like you have to say if you have a car, like getting your car registration moved, like different insurance and like all of those other kind of things that like you just don't think about, like they come into play. So yeah, like when you're going through that whole phase of like interviewing, finding offers, different things of that sort, like take into consideration like what's the cost of living in that place? Like, what's like public transportation? Like, what does that look like? Those kind of things. I think those were really important. When I lived in Delaware, I had lived 5 minutes from my job out of pure luck. I had actually the wrong address for where our office building was going to be, and it ended up working out where I was only 5 minutes away. So that was like nice. Like I was able to kind of have a better like work life balance in that sense. Like it was okay if I stayed later than like the normal 9 to 5 because like I was around the corner rather than now like with me living in like Fort Lauderdale working in Miami. My commute is closer to like an hour on the Bright Line, and so that's a bit different. So it's like yeah, you have to take into consideration all of those things and like really structuring out like what you're looking for in your life and what's most valuable for you. So yeah, it's definitely a ride. I would say enjoy it, and like have fun. Like I don't want this to be like really like toned down and like very like just make you feel like it's like by any means like difficult and like you have to find all of these like different resources and stuff because like that just adds to probably the anxiety of like I just graduated, like how do I get all of this done? But like really just have fun with it. Make sure that like you're making time with like those connections that you make, those friends or anything like that. Like just be able to take time to visit home. If you're feeling homesick and things of that sort on a weekend or something like that, maybe take PTO for an extent and make it a long weekend or things of that sort. But really, just like try to make sure that you're staying recharged and like focused on how you're moving. So yeah, I've been talking for like 13 minutes now. So hopefully, this should give me enough content to kind of cut and splice and make into something good. But yeah, I'm really excited about starting this YouTube as well. So I appreciate it if you've made it this far and listening. Um, yeah, I think we're gonna finish up this smoothie, go hit the shower, and then Jenna and I are gonna be doing some meal prepping and getting ready for the rest of the week. So that's another thing. Like when at life after graduation, like you can't just fly in a whim anymore. Like I think last night I've like ironed out my clothes for like the next 5 days because it's just like another hassle that like you want to get off your plate like early as possible. So that's a PS tip for you. But thanks guys again for listening. You probably haven't because this is a new channel. So subscribe, like the video, and let me know what you guys want to see. Really, my purpose for this channel is being able to provide like lifestyle slash like life advice. I want to do like vlogs and like lifestyle kind of things. So this is more of like a talking kind of structure, me just like sitting down, just because this is the first video. So I'm still getting into the swing of things, but I definitely just wanted to put something together because when you are after graduation, you do have to kind of take risk and kind of light that fire under yourself. Things aren't always going to be perfect, and I'm learning that. And sometimes you just have to go. If you remember anything from what I've said so far, it's continue to take those risks, continue to grow, and don't get complacent. It's really easy to just like graduate, kind of get into this like slew of like you're on Outlook all day, you're doing all these presentations, and you're spending the weekends like just trying to recharge, and then you do that again and again, and next time you look up like it's been a year and you're wondering like where your life is going, what have you done for yourself in terms of like meeting your goals and things of that sort. So yeah, so just make sure that like again like life is short but life is great, so like enjoy that and stay awake at the wheel. Don't let it just kind of depend on others or fall out of your hands just because there isn't a set path anymore. It's definitely one that it's a beautiful thing. It's one that you can set for yourself. So with that, I'll leave you guys with that. Yeah, and I'm not sure really when I'm gonna post this, but yeah, I'm gonna go now. So thanks for listening, and have a good week, man. So we'll see you on the next one. Peace.